Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch on our website, social media, or this channel. Reach out to me directly, tmosso at thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing the Patek Philippe World Time, reference 5130/1G-011. This is a 39.5mm white gold watch on a full bracelet with a 10mm thickness and a lug-to-lug span of 49.5 millimeters with a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. It is redoubtable, one of the largest Calatrava style cases you're going to encounter. The timepiece has tremendous wrist presence thanks to its size, but also its crown guard structure, which gives you the impression of a watch over 40 millimeters. It's not thick, as you can see, with a domed bezel. This one slides easily under a cuff. Because it does have a broad stance, I wouldn't recommend it for a wrist smaller than 14 centimeters circumference, at least not on the bracelet. On a strap, maybe a little bit smaller. Now, the timepiece does feel solid, and the bracelet gives the watch a different look. It's a little bit more coherent. The full bright appearance is a bit more flamboyant as well, but in white gold, it still gives you a measure of discretion. Outwardly, it looks like steel. Now, the bracelet's a handsome piece. It's certainly a dress watch bracelet, but because it does have many gaps between the individual links, it vents the wrist wonderfully on a hot day. So if you live in the sweaty climes, this is the way to go, as you won't need to constantly replace the strap and you won't have that clammy feel against the wrist. You can see that pin sleeves are used to hold the removable links in place. So if you want to do sizing at home, you're going to need a punch and a block there. You can see that there are ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps inside the clasp, and those are designed to ensure that it maintains its tight factory tolerances over time. It also locks with the clamshell, which gives you a bit more security on the wrist than is customary with dress watches, which tend to have friction fit clasps. White gold clasp internal curve to match the arc your wrist. Rolling around to the case flank, you can see that the end links of the bracelet are integrated, so it has an all of a piece look where the two meet. You'll also appreciate that the case itself is fairly handsome, sensuous, sinuous, with compound curves, and not just compound curves, but also so many organic arcs that it's hard to find a single straight line. Really, it's just the junction of the bezel and the case band. The bezel itself is domed, and it nicely continues the curvature of the case, and the crown guard profile, which gives it so much wrist presence, also imparts a measure of elegance. Now, you can see the dial features a guilloche black galvanized center with applique white gold hour indices and white gold hands. It is a World Time watch. This system, invented jointly by Louis Coutier and Patek Philippe, gives you the ability to view concurrently the 24 principal time zones of the world, each one represented by a reference city. Now let's say I am in Hawaii, and just to make things simple, you can see it is 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning? Well, you know, because you look at the little reference ring next to Hawaii and you can see it's 3. It's also within the darkened semicircle opposite the light semicircle, so you know it's night in Hawaii. But if I'm in Hawaii and I want to go to New York, you can see that the watch not just moves the reference city, but it moves the reference ring, the 24-hour ring, as well as the local hour. So the timepiece does all the math for me. Now, if I want to adjust everything independently, of course, I still have the ability to do so and change the time using the crown. So this is a handy traveler's complication, and part of the fun of owning one of these watches is over time, reference cities do change, and cities even change their time zones. So these become a lovely snapshot of the time in which they are made. Now, rolling over to the case back, you can see caliber 240 HU Universel. It's based on the 240 micro rotor, which since 1977 has been the premier Patek automatic, with the center rotor generally being the mass consumption auto. This is the premium one. It gives you a few advantages over a 324 or a 315, namely that you can see the entirety of the movement. It's not blocked by a rotor and a winding bridge. It also gives you a thinner profile like a manual, the vista of a manual, but still the convenience of an automatic. Now, the timepiece has a free-sprung balance, Gyromax style. That's a Patek innovation dedicated to allowing precise regulation and resistance to shock, and it dates back to about 1950. The timepiece beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour, and it has an automatic winding micro rotor wound 38 to 48 hour power reserve. It does feature a silicone hairspring for anti-magnetism as well, so it's both a very accurate watch and a resilient watch. All this 30 meters water resistant, so it's not necessarily a sports watch, it is a sporty watch, and everything you see here pivots on 33 jewels. High standard of finish here with a stippling or engine turning in 2 sizes on the base plate. You'll also see satination of the wheels, black polishing of screws with chamfering of screw slots, dots in circumference. There is mirrored beveling, known as anglage, on the edge of the bridges, and you can see there's a lovely Côte de Genève across the bridges, as well as the rotor with a Calatrava cross engaged on, or I should say, engraved on the rotor. It's a good-looking movement, handsome, thin, resistant with its anti-magnetic hairspring, and of course, very fine. But then again, that describes the entire watch. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of this Patek Philippe World Time.